Mazda has just announced pricing and packaging and its all-new three-row crossover, the CX-90. Let's go. It was great to go out to California for my first ever Mazda event last week to show you guys the CX-90. I already recorded this video, and I'm going to just go to play real quick what happened.
Last week, I was in California for my first ever Mazda event. I debuted on the channel the CX-90, their new three-row crossover. And out of nowhere and unexpectedly, Mazda just announced pricing and packaging for the 2024 Mazda CX-90. Let's get into it.
You can thank my 5-year-old for botching my entire 40-minute recording. This one is going to be much more abridged. I went over every single package in here on that other video with the ridiculous chipmunk voice, but this time around I'm going to be a little bit more concise and maybe compare it more to its competition out there. So the CX-90 has 3 powertrains. We only heard about 2 at the event. So the 3 powertrains, really what they are, 2 variations of the 3.3 liter mild hybrid inline 6-cylinder. You have a Sport S with 3 different trim levels, and then you have that gives you the 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, and then you have the base models which give you 280 horsepower and 330 some pound-feet of torque. We'll go over that in a little bit. The fuel economy is the same, and also the big question for me is on the base 280 horsepower inline 6 mild hybrids. If you put premium in it, are you still going to get the 340 horsepower? Makes me wonder. But anyways, the third powertrain, of course, is the plug-in hybrid, which that's looking like a pretty good option here. So the base CX-90 comes in at about $40,000. Destination is almost $1,400 here. So, and it arrives in spring of 2023. I will not be driving it at the media event. It's the same week as the Prius Prime and Corolla Cross Hybrid, for example. It would be a lot of time away from home. I just did a whole week away from the family. It's really, really tough. I won't be driving it in the spring unless I get it in my driveway from my press fleets here, which fingers crossed opens in late spring, early summer. So I can throw my kids in it and test this vehicle for you. Fuel economy with the mild hybrids is 25 miles per gallon. It gets slightly better fuel economy in town on the detuned inline 6 setup. Maximum towing capacity is also 5,000 pounds. The Turbo S models get 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque on premium. The plug-in hybrid gets 323 horsepower and the same amount of torque as the souped-up inline 6. And we know it has a 17.8 kilowatt-hour battery. We still don't have numbers here on electric range. You also have the base engine, like I mentioned earlier, 280 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. Radar cruise control is standard. Blind spot monitor is standard. Smart city brake support is standard. Driver attention alert, lane keep assist with lane departure alert. A warning is standard, as well as rear cross traffic alert. Parking sensors are not standard. You have to upgrade to higher trims for that as well. For example, the Turbo Premium is where you first see front and rear parking sensors, and that's unfortunate because this vehicle is huge. I would love for those parking sensors to be essentially standard. So we're looking at about $50,000 after destination just to get those parking sensors, and that's just an issue for me because I've lived with them before with the minivan and without them before with the minivan, and it's so much easier to live with them with such a large vehicle which is hard to project its dimensions when you're driving into it. There are 3 different trims of the plug-in hybrid model. If you want the additional high output AC outlet in the back, you have to upgrade to the plug-in hybrid premium model, which if I were getting it, that would be important for me to have that. Down here in Florida with hurricanes, power going out, you can run this as a generator. Also, the premium gives you the Bose sound system, wireless phone charger, wireless Apple CarPlay. But if you want the touchscreen capabilities of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you have to upgrade even further into the model lineup, which doesn't sit well with me. I feel like that should be a standard feature amongst all of them, just like the parking sensors. But the base grade at 47 for the plug-in hybrid might be one of the best options on this list in terms of powertrain, efficiency, and just affordability. But we're talking about a nearly $50,000 Mazda, which with the design, with the interior, it might be able to fetch that. And more importantly, with the all-new powertrains, I think they are premium grade. When we get to the full-fat 340 horsepower engine models, we get over $53,000 essentially after destination. With the top model with the fancy fabric and the really nice Japanese maple wood and the hang stitching, that's going to get you over $60,000. Also, if you want paint matched wheel arches and like body moldings, that is only available on the Turbo S models over, like I said, about $53,000. All the plug-in hybrids and the lower turbo spec models, they have black wheel arches like I saw on the plug-in hybrid there in California and Malibu. So let me know what powertrain you would be most interested in. What do you think the price is? Like, it's crazy to have such a big variance in price, about $20,000 for the base, which competes well. So it's crazy because they're trying to compete in two fronts. They're being in a mass market brand under $40,000 here, even including the plug-in hybrid. And they're also being a premium fighter with over $60,000. And when you compare it to its your competitors, the front wheel drive Pilot starts at $40,000. The CX-90's standard all-wheel drive with a rear-wheel drive bias, it should drive quite a bit better than the front-wheel drive Pilot, for example. But the Elite Pilot tops out at $53,000 with a more modest powertrain, of course, compared to the 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque Mazda with a better interior for sure. With bigger screens, bigger technology as well. The top grades, like I showed you last week, have two 12-inch screens, one behind the steering wheel, and then one up there in the center dash. What about Toyota? Well, this is the day before the reveal of the Grand Highlander, so this is like subject to change. But the Platinum Highlander tops out at $50,000. Of course, you can still get these in the hybrids. So that, which I would be getting a hybrid Highlander over the 2.4 turbo. The 2.4 turbo is a little rough. It's not as smooth as the V6s in the competition out there. The Nissan Pathfinder has a V6. The Pilot has a V6. The Korean Telluride and Palisades have a V6. And then the new Mazda has an inline six. All those powertrains I would take over the 2.4 liter turbo from Toyota. It's not a bad engine, but when there's 6 cylinders available for the same price, that's where I would be going, or just get the hybrid because the hybrid is super efficient, 35 miles per gallon. And the only one that could touch that is the plug-in hybrid Mazda CX-90 with more horsepower than, it's like 80 more horsepower than the Toyota hybrid. So I would definitely pick a Mazda plug-in hybrid for around $47,000 over the hybrid limited here. And the Korean models do price pretty well. They're actually priced pretty similarly to, let's say, the Honda Pilot, for example, topping out at around $53,000 with the base models starting in the upper 30s. Now, Mazda with the CX-9 was selling, well, actually, in its last year of production, it was gaining steam. It's a great, watch my review on the CX-9. It's pretty darn good, and the Turbo 4 is pretty solid in there. But 34,000 vehicles sold. I wonder what kind of volume they're expecting now that they're reaching into the premium segment here with the CX-90. I would love for them to crack 40, 50,000 units. There's definitely market there for them to take away from the Koreans, the Highlander, the Pilot, etc., the Pathfinder. So also, I didn't talk about the premium colors. So our new Artisan Red color, for example, is no surprise, a premium color. But with these prices, what do you think? I didn't go over the individual packaging because I sounded like a chipmunk. I don't want to talk for 2 hours talking about the CX-90s. Immense overload and overkill with the packaging. I wish it was pretty much like 2 grades per powertrain, to be honest. But anyways, I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.